I included a section on intermittent fasting because I actually have a fasting over 50 program where I coach women over 50 on how to effectively use intermittent fasting, not only to manage and maintain a healthy weight, but to become a more active ager. There are a lot of benefits to intermittent fasting if it's done properly. And as women, we've got to be really careful. It's not always a good idea to not eat until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon because that can create a hormone disruption for women. So I've included my beginner's guide to intermittent fasting. It's got some tips. You can use it if you want to, play around a little bit with intermittent fasting and see how you feel. But I would say that my big tip for women with intermittent fasting is to do reverse intermittent fasting. So if you can start eating in the earlier part of the day and stop eating earlier in the day and make your fasting time between that afternoon time that you stopped eating and the time you start eating the next day, that's going to be more effective for balancing hormones. It's going to be more doable for a lot of women. Um, and it can be really helpful because if you're taking any kind of medication, you can't be taking that on an empty stomach. So download the guide, play around with it a little bit. Intermittent fasting is excellent for many things. And of course, men do it and they just shred. Women do it and it can be a little bit tricky. So think about starting your first meal of the day a little later than usual, but then stopping eating earlier in the day and making your fast time at that end time instead of the beginning time and see how that feels. So go ahead, download your guide. Um, it's got some good comprehensive tips for getting started with intermittent fasting. And know the number one most important thing if you are going to try intermittent fasting is to make sure you're properly hydrated. And this is the thing about hydration. It doesn't matter how much you exercise. It doesn't matter what supplements you take. It doesn't matter whether you intermittent fast. If you're not properly hydrated, none of these things are going to be as effective as they would be if you are properly hydrated. So go back. If you're not consistent with your hydration, get back on the hydration train. Hydration is this one practice that you need for everything that we're learning here in Active Grandparenting 101. It's going to give you those nice pliable muscles for getting down on the ground with your grands and playing with them. It's going to help you recover when you start doing some of these exercises. It's going to improve your sleep and your mood. And if you want to try to dip your toe in with a little intermittent fasting, it's going to help with that too.